Hello guys, this is a review of the 1940s classic, Gone with the Wind. This movie is hands down one of the greatest of all time, believe me. It follows the story of Scarlett O'Hara, right here, Rhett Butler, Ashley, and Melanie. I wish I could name all the actors, too many names to remember, I usually don't, but just know that they all did a fantastic job. The movie follows the life of Scarlett, a beautiful woman. Every man available wants to date her. Even the ones that are not available want to date her. Because she's that beautiful. And like the casting, sometimes, they cast people that are not able to give life to the character the way that it was written, the things that it has to say without saying anything verbally. And the actress here just did an amazing job. She's very dismissive towards all of the guys around her. She plays around with them. She's a very happy and I would say one-sided woman at first. She's in love with Ashley even though he said to marry his cousin, and she doesn't tire of begging him over and over. It starts with all the guys talking about this upcoming war that they could probably be a part of and are very likely going to have to be a part of, but they're very excited about it. And she's like, I don't believe that that's gonna happen. Pay attention to me, I'm right here. I don't care about a war. I'm paraphrasing. And there's actually a scene where Rhett Butler is a very peculiar man. He's smart. There's a scene where they're having discussion about their possibilities of winning the war and stuff like that, and Rhett is like, you guys, like, they have more weapons, they are more prepared. He names all of the reasons why the North is probably more better equipped and more likely to win the war, yet they look at him funny and they judge him and they don't want to be with him anymore. They judge him specifically because there's this rumor going around that he's a ladies' man, that he has gone out with women that he did not marry, and that he left after he had his fun. And it's quite applicable to today when people have these standards. Well, everybody should have standards. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but people live double lives, and the mask that they present onto you is so thick. Like the movie, Jim Carrey's movie The Mask, we all wear masks, I know that, but it's that, how thick is your mask? How many layers do you have of hypocrisy, of sarcasm, of all these things? This guy, his mask is paper thin, and he's out there speaking his mind, and obviously not everybody's gonna like it. Right after that, there's a scene where Scarlett is supposed to be taking a nap with all the ladies, because that's what ladies did back then, I guess, according to the movie. But she sneaks out, gets in her pretty dress and makeup, and goes down into this room where Rhett is actually hiding behind the sofa. That's the first time that she actually declares her love for Ashley, who, like I said, is set to marry his cousin. She's like, I love you, please tell me that you love me, you don't have to marry her. She's thinking in her mind, if I tell him that I love him now, he'll for sure dump his fiance, because everybody wants to be with her. Why wouldn't he? But as it turns out, he is actually a very loyal person, and he's very straightforward. He lets her know, no, that's not gonna happen. I cannot do this to Melanie, and I like Melanie. There's actually fast forward a long time, and I probably shouldn't, because that's a spoiler, and while this is going to have a spoiler, I want to get on with the plot first. He tells her that that's not gonna happen, and Rhett actually comes out and makes fun of Scarlett and tells her, you're my type of girl. And she's just brokenhearted. She is angry at Rhett for listening. She's angry at Ashley, says that she hates him and stuff like that. And she sees later on in the party Melanie and Ashley together, so she decides to marry Melanie's brother, I believe, to get back at Ashley, in the hopes that they would probably come together that Ashley would be like, hey, you know, just trying to make him jealous and hopefully change his mind. But that didn't happen. And then comes the war. The war changed everything in this movie. This movie, literally for the first few minutes, is paradise. And then it's just hell. From there on, it's crazy. There's the way that this movie really brought all the emotions that it did. It's just insane. It shows the poor people. It actually shows well, you know how the Civil War started. It's a bit racist, and not a bit, a lot racist, very stereotypical. The performances by the African Americans in the movie are very stereotypical. Needless to say, we all know what's wrong. Obviously, slavery is very wrong, and good thing it's abolished. Good thing is over with now, at least mainstream, because there is underground. I don't want to get into that, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is, yeah, people from all walks of life are being affected. There are people dying. There are people without legs. People just, their whole world's being shattered. And Ashley does marry Melanie and leaves her behind. People could say, I have to say about Melanie, that they think that she's naive, that she's dumb, but I do not agree with that. I think Melanie is a very smart woman. She reminds me of Gabrielle from Xena Warrior Princess. She knows what the right thing to do. She knows what the right thing to do is, and she actually does it. Even if she has to step over herself, her own happiness, her own feelings, and her own desires, but she goes ahead and does it anyway. Which is very admirable, but it could be confused for weakness and or stupidity. There's a scene, like, a long time passes. Rhet is still insisting that he wants to go out with her, and she's saying no, that's never gonna happen. And she becomes a widow. Actually, Scarlett, I cannot go into the whole plot because this video might like turn off, and I don't want that to happen, because this is a long movie. It probably lasts like around 4 hours or something like that. So I don't want to get too much into the details. But yeah, she becomes a widow twice, actually. And there's a scene in the movie, very important for me, that really stuck out, where Melanie stays behind and Ashley comes back home for a little while. Oh, before I get into that, there's a very funny scene where she just turned into a widow. She's very young, obviously, and she's at a party. She's staying over at Melanie's because she knows that Ashley's going to come over very soon, and she's helping, I think, serve drinks for money. This is for the people at war, and Rhet is over there offering money to dance with her. And the guy's like, no, you could have any other lady, sir, but she's a widow. She would not even consider it. And she screams, I would consider it. And everybody's like taken aback by that. This lady even faints when she hears that, because it's obviously not acceptable. She was supposed to be mourning for her late husband, and instead she wants to dance. And that's all that she had in mind during that time. So she got what she wanted when Rhet actually... I forgot what it's called, but yeah, she basically paid to dance with her and told her once again, I want to marry you, but she said no, that's not gonna happen. Anyway, fast forward to the other scene that I was telling you about. Ashley comes back, and before he leaves, he tells Scarlett to take care of Melanie, and Scarlett's like, why would I take care of her? I don't like her. And he tells her that she's actually pregnant, that she's going to need her help. And in fact, she does. There's a worker, her name is, I think, Prissy, who stays behind, and she's like, oh, I know everything about childbirth. I will help you, don't worry. So she stays with Scarlett, and when the moment comes, Melanie actually goes into labor, and it's having a very difficult time having the baby. So Scarlett runs to Prissy, I think that's her name, we're gonna call her that, doesn't really matter. And she tells her, okay, help me, like we're gonna do this ourselves because the doctor's too busy tending the wounded from war. There are people dying, etc. And she's like, actually, I'm scared. I've never done this before. And she like gets beat. That's not funny, but it's just a way to relieve the tension, because by then the atmosphere is so tense and so many things have gone wrong in her life that you just want to break. And when that happens, she's like, actually, I wasn't expecting it. I was kind of like 25% suspecting that something could go wrong, but I didn't know exactly what. And when the girl was like, I don't know anything about it, that really made me laugh for a few seconds. But anyway, Scarlett takes care of Melanie and her baby. They survive and they're running away in a horse carriage. She wants to go to Tara. She knows that her family's there and is probably in trouble. She wants to go help them. Even though Rhet and everybody's like, don't go there, it's probably ruins. The Yankees, as they call them, have probably already burned everything down. She decides to go anyway, and Rhet departs. He parts ways, I should say. She begs him, Scarlett begs him, please stay, I can't do this alone. And he's like, hell, I beg the Lord for mercy for them if they capture you. Like, he knows that she's tough and that she could protect herself. When she gets there, she finds that everything is just almost like just ashes. Everything has been burned. There are no animals. There are no trees, flowers, nothing good. Her father is there, but she finds out that he's actually gone insane. And so many other things happen. She has a girl. After she becomes a widow the second time, she marries Rhet. He's like, okay, well, I'm rich, so, you know. There's actually a lot of comedy in this movie, but this movie, I would say, is like a wave in the ocean. It starts, it gets potent, and it doesn't hit or break water. It doesn't hit anything in its way. It just makes it all the way down to the sand. It does have sprinkles of comedy, sprinkles of terror, sprinkles of a bit of mystery, but the drama, which is the base of the movie, it stays solid and strong throughout the whole thing. But there is a very funny scene that I have to mention, because I had to leave this kind of like as a disclaimer. There's a scene where she doesn't have any money, but she goes to visit Rhet. He's in prison, and she has to appear like she has a lot of money. So she makes her worker, Mama, I think, make her a dress made out of a curtain. And it's so funny. Anyway, after that, he tells her, I have money, I'll help you out, you just have to marry me. They get married, they have a girl. He loves the girl, he loves her so much. She obviously loves her daughter as well, but she's not very attentive. She's not a very caring mother. She mostly cares about herself. And she had actually seen her father ride a horse when this guy came in to buy Tara. And they're like, no, I won't sell it to you, even if it's bad, even if I need the money. And her father died falling off the horse. And Rhet, one of the things that he does with his daughter is he teaches her how to ride. And the little girl goes on and she's like, look, Daddy, look, Mommy, look what I can do. And just as Scarlett is remembering, oh, you're just like my father, she falls and dies. That's when their relationship really can't get any better. And there's actually a scene where Scarlett was telling Rhet that she was pregnant again, but she was at the top of the stairs, and they get into an argument. She falls and she loses the baby. Then Melanie gets pregnant and she loses the baby. There's like tragedy, one tragedy after another, not just for her, but for the people around her. And ultimately, he's done. He decides to leave her and says, like, you know, I don't care. Even if you say that you love me, I don't care. I'm done. I tried my best. I was here for my daughter, but now that she's dead, there's nothing holding me back. She begs him. And the hardships that Scarlett has to endure, and really that she managed to overcome, it really tells you something, because at the end of the movie she says, he leaves and she stays crying. She's like, I loved you, I always loved you, even though I didn't recognize it, I didn't acknowledge it, and I didn't want to believe it, but I knew it in my heart that I always loved you. And instead of just staying in a very melancholic state, she just thinks to herself, I'm gonna go back to Tara because that's what I love, and eventually I'll get Rhett's love back. So she has a very positive mindset. Nobody worries too much about Scarlett because they know that she has things under control, and I think she proved it time after time. But it's still, I guess it depends on your outlook of life, and that's gonna determine how the movie makes you feel at the very end. But that's it. Great acting. This is obviously like restored image. I think it's a 70th anniversary edition, it says so here, and it's amazing. Doesn't even feel like it's from the 1940s. Nothing bad about that era, but it's quality movie making, the top of the top in absolutely everything I can see. How other movies, or where other movies got their inspiration from. It's so great. Gosh, I could just go on and on, but I don't think I have time. I don't want it to turn off. I give it a rating in its category of 10 out of 10. If it weren't in its category and it was like an all-around for me, because this is obviously my personal opinion, I would give it like an 8.5, a 9 out of 10. But in its category, it's a 10 out of 10. And I do recommend it 100% if you haven't watched it. And I think that's it. Thank you for watching.